All right, we're gonna try to take the fenders off. Looking at the bolts here, we've got one down low underneath. Gonna have the whole wheel well section of bolts. Up in here is in the door panel, door trim jam, sorry. Open the door, it's in there. And then up on both tops, you've got them up here. There's a couple screws up front that are not labeled here, but I'll show you those. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing there, other than there is a couple breakdowns. So section A here where they've got the arrow, if you break it down here, there's a couple more, plus the shims you want to keep track of. And then section B over here, it could be tricky. It's actually on the frame they're telling us. So there's a bracket there. Hopefully that's not in backwards, which has been the case on my car. So a lot of backwards or mismatched bolts. So let's take a look at them on the car and see what we got. Okay, let's try to find these locations. We've got the upper bolt here at the top of the fender that are normally shimmed. You can see on this one, there's a lot of shims. And I've got 0 on this one, so that's intriguing. And then at the front of the fender, you got 2 bolts there, or screws. That could be tricky. Those are painted, so we'll see. And then, obviously, we're gonna have the ones all up through the wheel well. And then there is one, we talked about that frame bracket, and I am not totally sure yet what that's gonna look like till we get down underneath, but I do believe I've got an eye on it down in there. So we'll see how hard that's gonna be able to reach from top or bottom. And then we've got the one in the door jamb. And you can see the one in the door jamb here, ton of shims on that one. So we'll take a look at that, see what we got going on. I'm gonna try to document these, put them back as close as possible. I do have some fitment issues on mine with some weird gaps up here. So obviously I don't know that I'll be putting them back with the same amount of shims, but we'll figure that out later. Okay, I got all the bolts out of the fender. I've got just loosened up here, finger tightened to hold it in place back there because still working on the front end. Everything underneath is done. This is the stubborn part today. These 2 screws, they've been painted over in a previous restoration. Kind of wanting to strip out, but we're trying to be careful. They're not turning. Back here, you've got nuts that I believe are welded in. I am not able to break those loose. So we're gonna soak them and see what happens. Other than that, I had a good run on it this morning until this point, so time to stop when you get frustrated. On the fender, I've taken out the bolt in the door jamb. This one is loose and finger tightened just to hold the fender in place. This one here is taken out. And then we have got the one right there out. I've got to loosen this one in the wheel well. I've got another one here to loosen up in the wheel well. I'll show you those locations. There is a bracket that holds this wheel well in place. You can see that right there. Got to loosen that up on the inside of the wheel well as also. And we've got everything else loosened here. These 2 screws are becoming a problem. They were painted in, I cannot get them out. They are rusted to this welded nut on the back side here. As you can see, those 2 up in there. This little gusset panel here, you can purchase very cheap. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take this screw out and this screw out. That can come with the fender. I may end up replacing it. I may end up drilling those out once I've got this off. I don't even know if I need a fender because it may be rusted. I haven't had a chance to look. So, but that's how we're gonna take this out. I wish these 2 would come out and then we could just take that fender off. But unfortunately, yeah, old restoration. So here we go. Okay, so we're kind of taking the wheel well and the fender out at the same time. On the edge of the fender, you obviously have all these bolts that you had to take out. These 2 underneath. And then in the wheel well, you've got this one back here and these 2 that hold the bracket to the frame rail. These hold to the upper rail on the fender. I've got 1 left there. And then that's pretty much it. You do have 2 in here that go to the core support, and it looks like the wheel well horseshoes around the body mount bushing. I'll give you a better angle here. And you can see these 2 that go to the core support or radiator support. And you can kind of see that horseshoe shape of the wheel well around that body mount bushing. So may have to take the body mount bushing out there. We'll see as we get into it. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I've already taken the bracket out that goes right here to the fender with the bumper. Loosened up the gusset there. And it's gonna come out in one piece, obviously, because these 2 are frozen. So cool. And there you go. Fender is off. Wheel well, everything is completely removed. I can get in here a little better to show you more of the mounting points. Obviously, you've got the upper here. You've got one right there for that upper frame rail. Coming around here, you can see was the mount for the fender up in the door jamb. Down low, you've got down here. This is the bracket that was behind there that you have to take the bolts out of. So there's 3, 1, 2, and 3 there. These were the 2 mounts in the radiator core support. Took the body mount bushing out just to have it out of the way, just in case. And then we had the gusset that mounted up here. So that feels good. That's a good spot. Everything kind of came off in one gigantic unit. So there we go. That is the fender removal, and we're at a great spot there.